2026. It is 5:30 p.m. Madam Clerk, would you kindly read the roll?
Chairwoman Ryan.
Present.
Vice Chairman Taylor.
Here.
Counselor Andujar is absent. Councilwoman Graves is absent. Counselor Sanchez is absent. We have 2 present and 3 absent. We do not have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Okay, seeing that we do not have a quorum on, we are unable to take items 1, 2, 3, and 4, discuss them this evening because they require a vote. So we are going to move on. I'm actually going to ask the clerks to just post them at the next regularly scheduled meeting. Is that okay? Next Tuesday.
Yes.
Right now, I would like to have a discussion on, Madam Clerk, would you read item 5? It's a discussion matter. There's no vote. Obviously, we have extended an invitation to a large number of people, and I thank you for joining us today. And if any one of you is here for the items 1 through 4, you do not have to stay because we will not be hearing those. They will be heard next week. So Madam Clerk, please read item 5 into the record.
The discussion relative to the 2026 through 2031 capital improvement plan. The following have been invited: Courtney Hawkins, Chief Operating Officer, Mayor's Office; Crystal Lindberg, Deputy Director, Finance Department; Stephanie Lamantia, Associate Budget Analyst, Capital Projects Finance Department; John Arzumanian, Director, Department of Public Property; Benjamin LeBeau, Capital Improvement Projects Manager, Department of Public Property; Craig Hockman, Chief Engineer, Department of Public Works; Brian Anderson, Deputy Chief Engineer, Department of Public Works; Robert Azar, Deputy Director, Department of Planning and Development; Chris Martin, Principal Planner, Department of Planning and Development; Joe Wilson Jr., Director of Art, Culture, and Tourism; Rebecca Noon, Director of Special Projects, Art, Culture, and Tourism.
Okay, and let the record reflect that we had a misposting on a title for Mr. Azar and Patricia Coyne-Fade. And Patricia Coyne-Fade is with us this evening, the Director of the Department of Public Works. So we'll get that changed. Anyway, can you all stand up, please? I'd like to swear you in. Anyone who's going to provide testimony today for our discussion?
Please raise your right hands. Do you swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do, yes.
Okay. State your names for the record and your title and stop here.
Ben Lobach, Project Manager of Public Property.
Joe Wilson Jr., Director of Art, Culture, and Tourism for the City of Providence.
Rebecca Noon, Deputy Director, Art, Culture, Tourism for the City of Providence.
Joe Mulligan, Director of Planning and Development.
Chris Martin, Acting Director of Special Projects for the Planning Department.
John Arzumanian, Director of Public Property.
Patricia Coyne-Fade, Director of Public Works.
Craig Hockman, Chief Engineer. Brian Anderson, Deputy Chief Engineer.
Nate Urso, Managing Engineer, Traffic Engineering.
Stephanie Lamantia, Budget Associate for Capital Projects.
Crystal Lindberg, Deputy Finance Director and Budget Officer for the City of Providence.
Wonderful. Let the record reflect that we are also joined by Councilman Bashado at this meeting.
So noted.
Madam Clerk, just a point of housekeeping. Did notices for this meeting go out? It went out to obviously everyone here today. Did the council members get noticed?
They
of
did,
the meeting?
Madam
They
Chair.
did. Okay, so please make sure they get noticed and ask them if they are able to attend on the front end, okay, for
Yes,
next
we will.
meetings. Okay, so we don't fall into a rolling quorum on this topic. Obviously, we're not taking a vote, so we're okay to discuss. And I just stated that we're going to have this meeting because we've invited so many people, and it's a critically important topic that council members asked me to bring in to discuss prior to the budget. So that's why we're here. I envision we're going to have a healthy discussion, but if anyone has any concerns, questions, thoughts about this matter, to avoid a rolling quorum, I'm going to ask that they ask me directly. Okay? All right, so that's it. Okay. Crystal, is that okay, solicitor? Did I articulate that properly? Okay. Crystal, do you want to walk us through this? It's your show.
Yes,
I know
of
you have
course.
a bunch of people to answer any questions that emerge while you're presenting, so please take it away.
That sounds lovely.
I can't enter these into the record, but they are for our discussion. You
Okay.
provided them, okay?
Wonderful, thank you, Madam Chair. So included in your packet, you have a report per department which is responsible for various capital improvement projects throughout the city. All of these reports are formatted consistently, so I'm gonna walk you through quickly what this looks like for ACT so that you understand the logic that's been applied in this report.
Great.
Starting from left to right, you can see the activity code. This is the coding mechanism we are using in the finance department to track every single project that is live with the city of Providence right now. The final two digits in that activity code, as you can see here, end in 20 or 25. That is indicative of the funding source for that project. So for example, 390-0245-20 is representative of a landmark art allocation in the 2020 bond. 390-0245-25 is indicative of the allocation for landmark art in the 2024A bond that was closed on last year. The next column indicates a description of the project. For the purposes of reporting and ease of reviewing, we have grouped projects with multiple funding sources together. So as we get into additional departments, you will see multiple lines which indicate one project but are funded by various funding sources. The next set of boxes are the actual expenditures that have posted for these projects. So we have what has been posted in fiscal 2025, just so we can see how projects are moving along. We also have year-to-date for fiscal year 2026. These numbers were updated by my budgeting analyst and I this week, so we are up to date through last week's AP runs. The third set of boxes represents what has been currently encumbered under that project. One thing to keep in mind is that encumbrances for capital projects may span multiple years because it doesn't necessarily, just because we enter a PO on July 1st does not mean that work is going to complete on June 30th. Oftentimes these projects cross many years. So we will have an encumbrance open for a specific project for the length of the term of that project. We're not closing them out and reopening them per fiscal year. The second to last set of boxes represent what was approved by the council and administration for fiscal year 2026 through fiscal year 2030 spend. I have only included funded projects in this analysis since we're talking about progress reports and unfunded projects are not necessarily in progress at this point in time. And then the last set of boxes is really informational to see where we're at in project completion. So the project total is going to be referenced what the total that was approved in the 5-year period in the adopted current CIP we are operating under. And the remaining balance reflects what is left after we take into account current spend. It is not factoring in those encumbrances. So we do anticipate that when I present the CIP, the proposed CIP for fiscal 27 through 31, that these remaining balances will be lower and that there will be some changes based on actual experience versus what was originally planned and expected. So Madam Chair, typically what we do when we go through when we do the operating budget is I have the departments come up for questions. This is a bit of a different format, so I'm not sure if you want me to just kind of go through the departments and then allow you to ask questions as they arise.
These folks have come, they've taken time out of their busy schedules to come. I'd like you to present as you typically would present.
Wonderful.
The only thing different is we're not gonna have a vote. I'd let the record reflect that we are joined by Councilwoman Shelley Peterson.
So noted.
And she has a handout package. So please continue.
Wonderful, thank you, Madam Chair. I think at this point then I'd like to invite up our Director of Arts, Culture, and Tourism, Mr. Joseph Williams Wilson Jr., so that he can provide any in-depth questions on what the status updates are. At this point in time, the city is aggressively trying to spend down the 2020 landmark art allocation. I've learned that as of actually just recently, we are looking to finalize some encumbrances for an art installation at the Gateway Center, which the director can elaborate on in more detail if you guys would like. He is also working on finalizing and locking out the existing landmark art contract that's underway, what was originally approved in 2020. And then the 2025 funding has been earmarked for a cathedral square and a potential art installation in that new improved section of the city once planning and development is done with its improvements in that area.
Okay.
Is there anything you'd like to elaborate on, or?
Just a correction, no.
Please do.
And this the public art project, the Gateways project, is actually the title of it and not related to the gateway at Roger Williams Park. The Gateways project was an idea that we had to both commemorate 250, but also to recognize the uniqueness of Providence's spirit of welcoming, and putting two signature pieces of public art in two gateway entry points into the city, one at Unicontinent Park and the other at North Burial Ground.
Good, okay.
Excellent. Thank you for that. And the only other remaining line on this department is their OPM and CM services. This department does not have any staff that is paid for by the city of Providence. All of their OPMs are considered private contractors, and they do feel that they have sufficient funds to manage these projects throughout the rest of the 5-year term.
Okay,
Wonderful. If there's no additional questions for ACT,
let me just ask, committee member, Vice Chair, do you have any questions? Are there
Just to,
council members?
these numbers are just representative in thousands, right? So you're looking at,
no, these are actual, these are
Actual
real
numbers?
Yeah, these aren't in thousands.
no,
So,
I mean, for 2025, 26,
yes,
just the column.
yes,
All right.
yep, those are the actuals. So we are, a little bit delayed in sending some of these dollars. So the director's been trying to think creatively about projects we can deploy, which is where this Gateways project came into play.
Sure. Thank you. Just want to make sure.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay,
wonderful.
next, thank you very
Great,
much.
thank you very
Thank you
much.
for your work.
Thank you.
Okay, up next we have Public Works. I'm not sure who wants to join me up here. Okay, well, yeah, that sounds like a great plan.
Madam Clerk, let the record reflect that we are joined by Oscar Voss. Thank you very much.
So nice.
Please continue.
Wonderful. I think at this point in the game, because there are so many public works projects and these engineers are much more knowledgeable about how sidewalks and roads work, I'm actually going to kick it over to our chief engineer so that he can just walk through the projects he's been working on, and we will obviously also be relying on Mr. Anderson here to help us with the sidewalk work. But I think, the questions on these will probably be where the projects are at, not necessarily where the dollars are. I'm happy to provide information on dollars when they arise.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah, we'll kick off with the Benoit Street retaining wall and slope stabilization. A couple years ago, there was we observed some pretty significant erosion of the slope that holds up Benoit Street. We've taken emergency measures to put barrier out there, convert that to one way to ensure that we slow the erosion of the Benoit Street slope. This initial $50,000 is a design RFP that we're going to be issuing in the next couple months to start developing concepts and cost estimates so we can request further dollars for the out years of the CIP.
Okay.
Bridges is a new and heavily funded line item or not new, but more heavily funded line item for us this year. We had two projects that were in a state of design, both the Point Street Bridge and the Memorial Boulevard North Bridge, which we're looking to design and get into construction as soon as possible. We're really fortunate the Rhode Island Department of Transportation reached out to us to want to collaborate and accelerate the construction of these projects and to take on the funding of the construction. So we had $10 million allocated. That was the cost of those two bridge repairs, for which RIDOT is going to foot the bill. Which was great. We have no shortage, or we do have a couple other bridge issues which are now able to be accelerated and funded with those $10 million. One of those being the Glen Bridge Ave over the Winnebago River, which is in active design right now, and we're hoping to get into construction late summer or early fall. Also, the VZ Street Bridge over the West River has come up in the Rhode Island Department, or the State of Rhode Island Transportation Improvement Program, which has allocated $2 million of state funds and federal funds for the reconstruction of that bridge. It is a reimbursement, so we do have to front that money. We're looking at about $5 million spent so far. In the next couple of weeks, we're going to be wrapping up our bridge asset management program, which gives a long-term look or kind of look at our bridge conditions, but also a long-range forecast of what those expenses will be over the next 20 years.
Can I just interrupt you? So there's two line items here for bridges. One is 20, one's 25. And what's the difference between those? Or could you?
Those are the funding sources, Madam Chair.
I understand that, but what is it? What do they relate to? What projects do they relate back to?
Sure. So
I just wrote down a whole bunch of bridges and I'm like confused as to which one.
Sorry, I'll go by year.
Thank you.
The 2020 fund is going to be funding the bridge asset management plan, which will be wrapping up, and those funds will be expensed by the end of this fiscal year, and wrapping up that 2020 bond. The 2025 bond is where, or this bridge asset management plan will fund a lot of these 2025 bond bridge improvements. So we talked about $5 million of existing bridges. The remaining $5 million will be allocated towards maintenance and minor rehab of the rest of our 51 bridges.
Is there a spend down requirement? Is there a deadline for when we have to spend? I'm looking at 2020. I'm just wondering what our obligation on that bond is to
Yes.
spend it.
Yeah, so ideally, those proceeds would be spent by now. We are not in arbitrage or at risk of any bond default at this point in time. But one of the priorities of the finance team has been to push getting these old dollars out as soon as possible. The directive has been to try to spend all of the 2020 bond money by the end of fiscal year 2026, so that we are not appropriating any 2020 allocations into 27 through 31, with the exception of probably the DPW complex, just because of the nature of that project. Unfortunately, what we're seeing is that COVID really did put a bit of a delay in how we were able to effectuate projects, and particularly when it came to sidewalks, there was a considerable investment using ARPA dollars, and so I think there's been some struggle in prioritization and deploying resource and trying to utilize a lot of resources at one point in time. But I will say that the 27 through 31 CIP is being proposed with the intention that there is no $25 left to be spent in the out years.
Is there a deadline, a drop dead date?
There's not necessarily a drop dead date. A lot of it ties back to arbitrage and the interest we're earning while the cash is sitting idle. I can say that we have had to send back some of that interest so far. Again, June 30th is where we're really pushing. We're gonna definitely be safe if we can do that, but we really do need to prioritize getting these dollars out. And so one of the things that we're doing is when we're looking at encumbrances, looking at POs, shifting them to older funding sources if necessary, so that we can get those dollars out the door and then reserve the newer bond funds for, similar like work. We always need roads, we always need bridges, but making sure that those old dollars are pushed out as quick as we can.
Okay. Madam Auditor?
That just brings you back down to sidewalks. I don't mean to jump ahead, but you have the 2017 one there. Is that all spent down? It's still showing the balance.
It will be spent down by June 30th. Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm. Some of that 4.3 is most likely going to apply to that. I believe there's some closeouts happening that Brian is working on right now. We just talked about that one. Yeah.
Thank you.
So I need to jump ahead too. But there's a lot of 20s in here.
There are.
So I guess what I'm asking is, can you affirmatively state that you believe with the plans you have in place that you feel that we can spend down those 2020 bonds by the 30th, June 30th?
I feel fairly confident that we can do that for all except for the DPW complex.
Okay.
I do think that one of the things we need to be more nimble on is deploying older dollars before newer dollars. And that is one of the reasons why we've started using this numbering sequence, so that we really can keep track of like what is allocated to what thing. I think historically there's been a scarcity mentality and a fear of utilizing the old and losing that ability on the new to spend that on things. And so really reinforcing that No one's trying to take dollars away from projects or away from work that's already been approved. All we're trying to do is make sure we're moving the cash out in the most efficient way possible.
You good with that? Yep. Council member, vice chair, committee members, council members, any questions on that? Councilman Barnes?
Thank you,
Yes, you may.
Looking at him, I'm talking about Boron Street, right? So you want to reinforce the guardrails or you want to reinforce the whole slope?
First, we have to control the stormwater runoff that's causing the erosion. So we do have to take some stormwater measures and sewer measures on that road first. Yes, we do want to reinforce that slope and we do have to reestablish that guardrail. That guardrail is in a sad state and not protective of, it wouldn't serve its purpose today, which is why we have that barrier out there.
Because $50,000 won't take you nowhere.
Nope, that's for the conceptual development and beginning of design development.
And also we have Valley Street Bridge that is missing a guardrail for the last 40 years, I said that, and I report that to DPW and nobody have do anything about it.
And
And
that's,
we just waiting for somebody to jump on the river and we can find him down here, but,
yep, that is something we plan on funding with the 2025 bridge line item.
okay,
Okay,
can I?
are you good?
No?
You have another question?
Yes.
Okay,
The Glenbridge Bridge, is any way that we can reinforce the bridge so at least fire department can cross over? And we don't have to wait for the fire department to go all the way down to Oliver and make the loop to go on the other side of Mountain Avenue?
So you may have seen a water barrier go up on the Glenbridge Ave Bridge, that was from last week, and that's to preserve the integrity of the bridge as it stands today. We've waiting to execute a license agreement with Rhode Island Energy, who is gonna shore that bridge up, so that they can work on their parallel adjacent bridge, which carries their gas main, which is also in a critical state. We've been working together so that we can utilize that shoring to perform our bridge repair immediately after. So we are sequenced. I don't think it's gonna be at the time of the Rhode Island Energy project, but we're sequencing so we can come in as soon as possible to restore that emergency access. It's a very high priority bridge for us.
Can fire trucks can go through now?
No, not now. It's not rated for fire vehicles or emergency apparatus.
Is any way we can get it ready for them to cross over?
That's what we're working towards.
Thank you.
okay, so I interrupted you on the bridges, let's move back.
Would you mind if I just
I'm sorry.
ask one quick question?
Certainly,
Thank you, Chair.
Councilwoman Peterson.
Just a quick question on the guardrails. Am I thinking of the guardrails that we use in traditional things like small, I'm thinking of the guardrails that are in my ward, and I remember we had a conversation early in my term that we're kind of steering away from the traditional guardrail. I just wanted to know what you were gonna be using in replacement, or you're going to be doing the same thing, or is it a different kind of guardrail that you're talking about?
Yeah, so the guardrail on Boudouin Street is specific for roadway departures.
Okay.
And that's what guardrail is really intended for. I think past practice has been to install these at T intersections, which is not really intent of a guardrail, which is the practice we're trying to get away from.
Okay, thank
So
you.
this one is a specific run off the road and you're gonna go down a couple hundred feet embankment.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, are you done with bridges?
Done with bridges.
Okay.
Excited to implement this program.
Okay,
The Collier Street retaining wall is complete, and we show this balance here, which we are ready to reallocate.
did we talk about Canada Dam?
Nope, I skipped that one, thank you. Canada Pond Dam, the Department of Public Works performed a project here to restore a very critical item, the low-level outlet, maybe about 7 years ago. And that got us back into compliance with DEM, who brought that to our attention. Subsequent inspections have brought forth some other items which are not as critical, but this is the $125,000 is for design. The $1 million is to address some of those items that have been identified through that inspection. Sorry for jumping.
Please continue.
Yep, the Collier Street retaining wall is a complete project, and those funds are available for reallocation.
I'm sorry, say that again, please.
So that project is complete. That rebuilt 3 failing retaining walls, and rebuilt the road that are supported by those retaining walls.
Okay,
That project is complete, closed out, and those funds are available
Okay.
for reallocation.
okay, next.
The Fox Point Hurricane Barrier System. We've done a ton of work here, and we've been able to do this on a very tight budget. We've been very efficient in the way that we've been able to spend this. Of the 2020 funds, we are proposing to reallocate 500,000. As Ms. Lindberg stated, it's the fear mentality of never having money again. But we've been successful in advocating it and performing projects there. So we have about $300,000 planned of improvements over the next couple of years. But after that, we are ready to reallocate 500,000.
Okay.
We're also going to be requesting a reallocation of some of these 2025 funds. We'd like to hold on to about 250,000 of these for longer term maintenance. We see the maintenance burden increasing over the years. But we've decided to reinvest in the existing equipment, talking with tradespeople and mechanics. The stuff that we have out there today is better than anything that we can get new today. So as long as we continue with our annual maintenance, it's a lower cost, and we think it's going to serve, it's going to have much more longevity than anything new that we could install.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to hand Rose over to Brian to speak about the 2020 and 2025 bonds.
Yeah, so, under the 2020 roads, we've been, under the 2020 bond, we had 5 paving contracts that largely ran through the calendar year 2024. There was some cleanup of that last year, and we're trying to close out those contracts with our contractors right now. It's taking a little longer than we were hoping for to close those out. We're hoping to close those out. And then any of the, if there's any remaining little bits of money in those, we'll just try to spend that as quickly as possible on the road program we're preparing for. Last year, we had under the 2025 or 2024 bond, we had a paving contract that went out. Got done largely last year. We've also been using that to coordinate with utility companies. I think most of you probably have heard of the Providence Water's lead service replacement program, which is 25,000 or so lead services located throughout the city. So we've been trying to make sure we're doing our due diligence with them so that we don't end up paving a road that they then need to come into and replace lead services. That's a program that they're gonna have for the
How
next.
is that collaboration working?
It's working fairly well. It's a monumental or a massive program for them to try to, and it's also largely dependent on getting in touch with property owners and getting the timing of being allowed into the properties to make those connections. So they have a lot of challenges on that, as we have challenges trying to react to their challenges. So we've been working with them. We've also been in some cases where they come in and restore a road. We've been, using some of our available funds to, if they say they were, 50 feet short, or they didn't require to pave for the last little section of a road, we would work with their contractor if we had them under a blanket contract to get those gaps in the paving completed, so that it can be more cohesive where possible. Right, so we've been working, I think, fairly well with them.
I can tell you, I've got a lot of lead work being done in my ward.
Yes, so we've worked
More
with
than,
Providence Water. We have some roads coming up over near Pleasant Valley Parkway. Providence Water got in this winter to try to get the lead services replaced in advance of us so we can pave and they don't have to disturb the road after.
I just
So,
want to take the opportunity to just say I was very impressed with the collaboration. They notified all of the property owners, they followed up. I knocked doors on people that didn't respond. It was really a coordinated effort to make sure that people who had lead lines knew that there was funding available. So kudos to Providence Water and to your department for working collaboratively to make sure that if we had to fix a lead line, we do it before we pave a road.
Yep.
It does take time, and I know it slows you down, but it's certainly worth its weight in pavement.
Yeah, so we had trying to sort that all out last year. We have a much better handle with Providence Water now, so that, we're evaluating a group of roads we know need attention to figure out which ones need the most attention. We've also had a very difficult winter, and a lot of road needs are being presenting themselves now that the spring is here and the weather's getting warmer. So we have a plan right now to spend down to 2020, we'll close out the projects, get that spent, and then we are more roads that need attention than we have budget. That cover it in 2025. So it may look like there's money here, but we are actively, over the course of the next few months, we'll have something ready to present and say
Okay.
these are the roads we're targeting.
Right. Okay, anyone see, Councilwoman Peterson?
Can we talk about potholes? Plan in place, obviously, and you guys are doing a pretty good job of filling the ones that are reported in 311, but we have substantial issues, of not just actual potholes, but developing sinkholes in several places. And some of them actually align with some of these service lines that have already been done. I'm thinking of Eaton Street, with the difficult winter that we've had, those temporary or whatever they did to kind of, asphalt over is starting to deteriorate and causing some pretty big, larger holes and things like that. I've done my due diligence of reporting it to 311, so I know that people are actively working on them, but I'm for sure this is happening everywhere in the
So
city.
is this, is this in relation to the lead service replacement?
Yeah, and potholes in general is really my question, but what I'm noticing is, especially because Ward 14 was one of the first, wards to have this lead service replacement done. A lot of the areas that, have the cutout for it are sinking.
Breaking up.
Yes.
Please continue reporting to 311, they come directly to us, and we have someone dedicated to looking at those 311s. We just issued correspondence, today, releasing our winter moratorium on road work. And we're gonna be following up by the end of this week to say, if we've given you a failed patch, that we've asked you to repair, you've got so many days to fix this. And until you fix this, we're gonna limit your permits going forward. So yes, it's been an extraordinary winter. We've had four weeks of nonstop freeze and then multiple freeze thaw. Tons of heavy equipment on our roads and they've been beat up.
Yeah.
As well as the patches that have been done over the winter. But it's important that we do the work over the winter to accelerate that program and to get that going. It's been a struggle. Yes, 311 is the best. We get that the quickest.
And there, just to add to that, there's a few different, so if you're saying pothole things, there could be a bad utility patch, which we have a mechanism in place to track those. If it comes in through 311, we send a notification that we track them. It's a utility issue. There could be a private sewer line service, an old, cast iron pipe or clay pipe that has failed, and then you might have a sinkhole or road issue based on sewer service things, water leaks. There might be just the road due to the freezing and thawing, the pavement surface is degrading as a pothole. We're working with the highway division too, to be able to identify some of the worst areas. Only Will Square had Atwood Ave, Plainfield was hit pretty bad. So that's an area we're gonna be trying to target to do a more permanent repair. It got made safe. And there's some other areas like that, so that's part of our program as well, in the areas that are not utility or like service or service line related, where we know that it's a larger repair than maybe we can accomplish in-house. We'll work with our highway division to target those and then use some of the funds to go back in prior to next winter to try to fix some of those. So if you do know those or you do have a place area you'd like us to look at, please get in contact with me.
Yeah,
And we will look at it, try to figure out how we can best repair those.
thank you.
Right, Councilman Bishano, I think you had your hand up.
Yeah, thank you. Just maybe back to Councilwoman's point and just honing down on the phases of the lead service that has been completed. You have mentioned in terms of going back and taking care of those roads that are needed. Well, I'd say in serving on the Providence Water Board, sounds like it's been a great collaboration on phase 1 and 2, now moving on to phase 3, the Mount Pleasant area and those areas. My question is in terms of now that those phases are concluding, what is the strategy to go back from the patching these things in those areas, meaning Ward 10, 8, 9, 11, and I believe 14 was one of the first ones and so forth. Is there a calendar for that? Is there a strategy that we're going to take care of some of those roads or those areas that have had or need some road work in those neighborhoods?
Yeah, so there's an evolving strategy on that, just because as we learn their program, what we have in place that's happened through last year, I had one this Friday, is once they have different contract areas, so they might get a contractor and it's a fairly large area. So it gives them enough room to be able, as people allow them to go in their home, they can kind of move around those contract areas. Once those are complete, the contractors, luckily so far, all of their contractors have subbed out to paving contractors that we actually have under agreement through our blanket contracts. So we'll walk the streets with Providence Water, see what the impacts were of the lead service program, and see if it justifies full curb to curb for a distance down the road, if it justifies just patching in front of a home, to try to balance out, you know, fair and equitable restoration, that they're doing what they need to, but also not unfairly making them just do what, you know, impacts they haven't impacted, so that they have more money to complete that program or get as far as they can with that program. Moving forward, we're gonna consider the possibility of maybe if we can, as we see when they're coming in for things, if there's a road that is in need of paving, we may look, if we have funding, to be able to take on the paving of that road, work with the gas company and others to see if everybody can get in there, and then we will pave that road and take a reimbursement from the utilities, if appropriate. But right now, you may see some roads where half the road, if sometimes they use a mechanism that they can tunnel under the road, so they're not impacting both sides of the road. So there might be a stretch of the road where, half the road's paved. And there might be a stretch where it's just patches, and there might be another stretch where it's curb to curb for a section. In this section where they owe us curb to curb, and there's a large portion of several blocks might need, we've been trying to step in and work with their contractor, if it's one that we have under contract, to add dollars to that so that they can complete the full curb to curb paving in a section to make it a little more cohesive.
So, if I may, is there a rolling list or of roads that on the first phase or second phase of these jobs that have been completed by neighborhood?
We have,
We
have the contract areas, and we have an idea of the permits they pull at each location. Some of the challenges that come up is if they think it's just a sidewalk, a private side water service, they'll go in, but they might open up that and realize the lead actually extends out to the street, so now they have a street. Or it might be they thought it was a street impact and it's only the private side. So until they're finished with all the work, it's been challenging to figure out how we establish up front what the restoration needs to be.
Councilman Vargas has a question, thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Marcia. The question is, how are we doing the program that we start about the small contractor, about sidewalks? Are you still working on it?
We are working on it. It is, to be honest, we're
We
trying.
are, excuse me, did you say sidewalks?
Yes.
Okay, can we wait?
Okay, let's go
Let's
back to
finish.
roads, alright, okay, let's go
Let's
back
stick
to,
with roads and then.
alright, let's stick with roads then.
I'll address that when we get the sidewalks.
Thank you, sorry. So do we have an inspector from your department that goes and check the water, Providence water contractors, who's doing the jobs?
As we get, I mean, we're fairly, with the amount of utility work out there, we do limited inspections. If we get a defective patch, we will go out and look at that patch. As far as there's an agreement between historically with the city and the regulated utilities, that we don't really have the authority to do that. They have the authority to inspect themselves, to make sure it's done. We will inspect it where we get it alerted of issues. And if we get defective patch warnings, but we're not doing daily inspections of utility work.
Yeah, and to add to that, the agreement between the utilities and the city does put the inspection burden on the utilities. This was a consent agreement between the Public Utilities Commission and the city, probably back around 2008. So that's a relationship that we have as far as inspection. We do, after capital projects, go review the paving and any of the sidewalk work. We do have someone dedicated to doing that, but that's post-restoration at the end of the project.
I will point out one other thing that kind of, when we went to our online system, and we're still refining this, but part of our current permit thing is if somebody pulls a permit for road work, they need to submit a photo of the completed repair the final patch once it's done, so we can at least, even if it's just in the office, see the photo and it alerts us to certain things. Some of them, you can tell that they don't meet our standards and then we can address that with them. Others, yeah, it looks like they did what they were supposed to and we can move on and close out the permits. So we're still refining that system, but that's intended to be, as time goes on, we get that so we can start, if people have a lot of outstanding permits they haven't closed out, we can then say, well, maybe we should stop issuing new permits now until we're assured that you have things closed out. And that's so we minimize finding things like, oh, this permanent patch, a sidewalk panel was never replaced and that was a permit 4 years ago. So that's something we're refining, but it is in place, so it's not a full field inspection, but it is a visual inspection to kind of be able to identify potential problems.
Another question, please?
Thank you. The reason is because when you guys give out a permit to the Providence water supply or contractor, you give them like 5 to 10 to 20 permits at a time, right? One shot. Or you do it one by one.
So what we'll do is, I will say, we group, if it's a lead service program,
Yeah,
it's all on the same road, it's on the same couple blocks. They can submit a permit with up to, say, for all practices, they can group multiple permits into one permit so that they're not redoing the general information, who the contractor is, what the time frame is. And then that reduces our review time. And then we can track it, as if they were multiple individual permits.
The reason is because they go and this is the water, right, the shut off.
Mhm.
So they need to dig here, but what they do is they only cut half of the sidewalk and they crack the rest of the sidewalk and leave the property owner with the damage. That's why was my question, I've been getting some phone calls that they damage the rest of the sidewalk because they don't want to cut the whole square. They only want to cut where the water.
And that's part of why we have the photo thing, because we can tell fairly easily in photos if they did not replace the panels.
They have to repair it, correct?
Any panel they damage, they need to repair.
But sometimes they.
Sometimes we don't know about it, so the 311 becomes important, that if somebody, then we can go out and inspect that and.
So the councilman should advise
Mhm.
you should report that. And
Yeah, but
They'll be held accountable.
I don't work for the DPW.
No, but you're right.
To walk
Well,
around.
I did like-
There's also contact information listed in the Providence Water literature, so what's being delivered to them, there is contact information there, or they can reach out to Providence Water Supply directly.
But if there is a thing where it looks like there's a difference of opinion between a constituent and Providence Water as far as the restoration, the 311 is always a mechanism that can go, and we can go out and look at that and see if there's anything further the utility company needs to do.
But the principle is, if they damage the
Whatever panel
sidewalk
they
while
damage,
they're doing their work, they need to repair it. And that's what we can tell our constituents, and we can hold, you will help us hold.
yes, and for all practical purposes, they need to restore, whether it's the road, sidewalk, driveway, to the condition it was prior to that. It's not exactly achievable because you do have the cuts and things like that, but to the best they can, they need to
So
restore
when
that
you're
to the.
looking at those pictures, when they're done their work, that's something that you would scrutinize when you look at it and say.
Yeah, so
"There's a
we
problem
can-
here."
Say we see that they do patch, it looks good, but the striping is not there.
What about they say that we like that? Well, before I cut, that was
Okay,
crap.
Councilman.
Okay.
Anyone else on that topic? Let's move to sewers.
All right, I'll take sewers back over. The 2020 bond is fully allocated, and we're just waiting for some invoices to spend that completely down.
Nice.
Yep, 2025 sewers. We have been working pretty heavily over the winter. We have just awarded a $1.6 million contract to upsize pretty majorly drainage at the southern end of Blackstone Boulevard. There's a low point and the end of watershed for a major watershed upstream. It's almost 5 to 6 acres. Just a huge amount of runoff coming through. That'll upsize and make all pipe sizing at the end same size and able to accommodate flows there. The southern end of Blackstone Boulevard does flood even on moderate rains, but we've seen severe rains where it's very damaging to both city infrastructure and private infrastructure. We're also working on, and this has been a project that's been around for a little bit, there's a sewer that runs through the Butler Hospital campus. We have an easement that goes through there. That got held up pretty significantly at CRMC. We're still awaiting final permitting. However, we've had a little change of approach recently. We think we can do this less invasively for less money and be less impactful to sensitive ecological areas. So we're exploring, and we're pretty close to finalizing an approach for horizontal drilling, where we can open pits in 3 places and do the same thing that we require us to do open excavation for 2,500 feet. So what we originally had allocated for about 3 million, we think we can do for about 2.5.
Nice.
Yep, so we're gonna finish that concept. We've got a meeting this week to finalize our approach and get that into final design and permit again. We're beginning our 3rd round of sewer system evaluation and study, which will see us come through clean, CCTV the sewers, and come up with repair plans for that. And now we have budgeted over the next 3 years about $1 million. And that's gonna be matched with about $4 to $5 million of repairs. Some of these findings are critical and we have to address immediately, which we do. Anything that's not critical, we'll wait until the end of a section or the end of the program to figure out what's most critical for us to address with those dollars after that. We're trying to preserve as much as we can before we have to dig and excavate. We also have a pot of money in there for emergency sewer repairs that come up. These are coming up daily, although we minimize them. The more we do this work, the more we're minimizing these expensive, critical repairs.
Do we have any more wood sewer line? Any wood pipes, I guess?
I know the water system had wood pipes. I'm not aware of any wood pipes on the sewer side. I know we have stone and
But there
slate.
are all wood pipes still in the city of Providence and various places.
I can't, I'm gonna defer to Providence Water on this one.
Okay.
I'm not aware of any on the
I
sewer
get
side.
that question all the time. I figured while I was sitting here. and
I think it's in the Providence Water Museum in their lobby.
Okay. Councilman Machado, yes.
In reference to sewers, an ongoing issue that we brought up to you is the one on Hamilton Street, which is always a dispute between Providence Sewer and Narragansett Bay. Has there been any progress on those conversation? Is there strategy or plan to address that flooding and mitigating the situations there?
So this pertains to flooding, we had some sinkholes over there which were NBC attributable. I think we finally got to the bottom of that and they accepted responsibility. I don't believe NBC has taken action any further on Hamilton Street. I think they're constrained, as are many of their nodes where the city meets NBC.
Has there had any conversations besides that? Because it got to the extreme where Narragansett Bay had to go in there and really address the issue after 3 or 4 sinkholes. But this is ongoing through Hamilton Street. Has there been any conversations or any plans?
I haven't had any further conversations with them. Our sewer superintendent, who mostly works on the maintenance of sewer systems, may be in touch with them. I can follow up with them and get back to them.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Okay. All right, please continue. Councilman Vargas has a question.
I see a lot of capital money in these sewers. Is not the Narragansett Bay Commission in charge of these to repair this sewer?
I'm sorry, you say you see a lot of.
Like I said, like we invest in a lot of money into this sewer, right? But we don't own it. It's not Narragansett Bay Commission.
No, so we're not investing in Narragansett Bay Commission's sewer infrastructure. We have enough of our own, and.
Are we charging them to use them?
Are we charging them? No, they charge you though.
I know that's the question, because you use a gallon of water, they charge you for 2.
That's right, so we don't receive any user fees for our sewer or stormwater system. Right, we are an unfunded sewer and stormwater system, about 450 miles, 30,000 manholes and catch basins. The CIP is our only capital funds that come through.
We have to start working out how we can get some progress. Because they send a bill to you, you have to pay them. It's not fair for us, but taxpayers to be paying to repair a sewer line when we don't get no benefits. They get the benefit. Thank you.
Okay, you all set?
I am.
Sidewalks.
Sidewalk.
Okay,
You know, it's a burning
I'll start,
topic.
and I'll get to the small contractors in just a minute.
Okay.
So,
Councilman Vargas has a question, but just letting you know, continue, please.
so under the sidewalks, a couple things. One is there's the 2017, I just want to point out that, and Crystal, maybe you can help this. So there was an original allocation under 2017 that got spent down, I think, prior to 2020. And then I think, some other monies from other places in the CIP got put in there because it was out of convenience. Correct me if I'm wrong, I don't really know.
I think there were other unallocated
So it was
17 funds that needed to be
unallocated
spent.
that kind of got put in, so I just want, the original allocation we had prior to, say, 2021, was spent down, but then in a good sense, extra money kind of, made its way to the sidewalk line items, and now we're working with, Crystal and Stephanie now to figure out exactly how much of that is so we can spend it down. And that'll be the first monies we try to, get out the door.
And that's the one that Chris just said was fairly confident that we were going to have spent before June 30th.
That's what our goal is.
Okay.
But so we're trying to do that now. I think there's, we used a little bit of that money. So our last year's, over the last 2 years, the DPW project that used some ARPA funds, used some CIP 24 funds, used some pretty much funds from a lot of places, including some RIDOT, reimbursable funds. So that we anticipate being spent down, and we'll, you know, if there is anything that is left, we will work to spend that as quickly as possible.
Great.
And as you can see, actually, the actuals in fiscal '25 do indicate that the department has been prioritizing spending those $17 in advance of the newer bond money. So again, we're working on potentially reallocating POs and shifting things around, so we're getting the oldest dollars out first, but that is a priority of all involved in this process.
Understood. Please continue.
So the 2020 is just sort of some final remaining. There was some, small amounts there that we're reconciling, and that shouldn't be an issue.
Okay.
For the 2025, as I mentioned, so some of the dollars from the DPW's recent project, some of those dollars were spent in conjunction with the ARPA funds and things for this large sidewalk project we had throughout all wards in the downtown area over the last 2 years. That wrapped up, pretty much late last year. There's a few punch list items on that. We are gearing up. We have 2 contractors on board for sidewalks this year for the 25. We're doing the same approach. We're gonna look at busy corridors. We will be getting correspondence out to council, just letting them know the areas we're evaluating. And once we're working out with our contractors, we have Narragansett Improvement and Hartford Paving are assisting us in getting sidewalks done to the tune of about $4 million. We have them for, I think, under contract for this year. Some of the challenges that we're looking for is we've tried to work with Providence Water and Rhode Island Energy to figure out where do we need to come in before them for their work, or where do we wait till next year? So the schedule is largely driven by our contractors of what works best for their logistics, and the utilities as far as which wards or which areas of the city that we're going to do first and progress through. So we'll be sharing some of that in the next few weeks. I think sidewalks will probably be getting started now that the weather's nicer, probably as early as next week. There's also some other things that we're preparing for. One is ADA improvements. So I know traffic has had a lot of requests for crosswalks. When you put a crosswalk in, you have to put curb ramps. So some of the dollars have been reserved to try to identify those so we can put curb ramps in where crosswalks are needed. We're still working through the details of some of those, and as requests come up over the next year or so, then we'll be seeing if we have the money to program that. There's also some of the budget has been assisting the public properties with sidewalks in front of schools. So if there's a school project and there's some sidewalk needs, some of the CIP dollars have been reserved to assist them with that and do the improvements. And then as far as the small sidewalk, we've had discussions about the need for when individual repair, 311s come in, or, a sidewalk that's not part of a bigger project where you wouldn't get one of the larger contractors to be cost feasible to come in and just do a one-off repair where DPW crews might have too many to try to assist them to get them done. We're looking at trying to do a blanket contract or some form to solicit interest from smaller contractors that can react quicker and do smaller repairs more economically. So we've met with Councilman Vargas and a representative of the contractors group or to try to figure out what some of the challenges are. So we're still looking at that. We trying to get projects, keep the larger projects moving while we're still, that some of the challenges I think you heard that came out of that is payment time frame and other things that, these are small contractors aren't as geared as the bigger contracts to deal with, 2 to 3 month payment cycles or bonding requirements, all this. So it's a matter of trying to figure out how do we get them in place in a way that's effective so that our highway, or DPW or the highway division can get a cost from them and get them out there with a fairly quick turnaround. So we're still working on that. It's gonna take a little bit more time to try to get that in place from what we discussed or what we were hopeful for in the first meeting.
Okay,
Okay, one,
sure, Councilman Box.
the sidewalks near the parks, who's responsible for those ones?
So if it's within the public right of way,
Yes.
that would fall under DPWs. If it's within the park itself, that would fall under parks. Sometimes we'll work together with parks to,
Because I got a small
Mesh-
part
mesh
that both
together.
sidewalks are, if you walk there, you might fall. It's so bad.
and there's a few in our current program, there's a few parks that we've identified that have similar issues where the sidewalk along the park is in need of attention, so. If you know that, contact me. If we don't have it programmed, we can at
Tomorrow
least put it
you will
on our
have it.
radar for future. What's that?
Tomorrow I let you know.
Okay.
Okay, please continue.
Madam,
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Quick question, I don't know if you, maybe it's like of Trish, how do we make out hiring our own cement finishes?
So we just had a recruitment for that, we had 2 positions open, it's been a struggle to get people with the proper qualifications, frankly. But our highway superintendent was very, excited because we had 2 really qualified candidates. I just signed off on one of them today, the other one failed his BCI. So,
Okay, so we should,
Try
we'll have
again.
one, maybe the second one, so the second one we can't hire because they failed the BCA?
say it again, I'm
The
sorry.
second one we cannot hire because
We're
they,
not
failed the
allowed,
BCI.
given the nature of this BCI, we can't hire him, so we'll repost, we're gonna try again.
got it, okay, thank you.
Sure. Okay, please continue. Oh, I'm sorry, Councilman Bishop.
Thank you. I have a question with regards to, some of the repairs that have already been done, but they've been done with asphalt to kind of just, secure the areas in the meantime. Just kind of wondering when the meantime gets repaired.
So if
Oh, sorry.
if you're referring to if it's a utility.
No, I'm talking about sidewalk specific. So sometimes there is a lift in the sidewalk as a result of a tree.
Oh, so, okay.
And they use asphalt to help kind of offset while there's a larger plan put in place or something.
So what our highway division will do, if we get a 311 and other things, these are ones that are not part of, so the engineering projects tend to be the long linear, larger projects where we can bring in one of the larger contractors and get them through there to make the repairs needed along a certain stretch. Where it's individual repairs, based on what our ability to react and our, whatever, if we have an impact crew or we're waiting to hire people, they will do what they call make safe repairs. And a lot of times they might remove a panel and put asphalt behind it until they can at some point in the future when we can be able to come back and do a more permanent repair. So on a lot of those, the temporary asphalt repair, due to being the amount of requests we get in for those and other things, doesn't make it as feasible with our current crews to be able to go back and do it more permanent, but they do track that through the asset essentials in the 311 system in hopes that we can at some point go back and do those repairs. When we get some of those that might be in an area, when we come through with a larger project, we'll capture those at that point in time. But those are on the busier corridors where a lot of what I think you're referring to is probably on the more residential and they're not areas that we're targeting for the large scale, high pedestrian areas. So I don't probably need the answer you wanted, but it's very difficult for us to go back in a lot of cases to make those permanent repairs. And many of them are probably attributable to tree roots as well, which adds another layer of, do we take the tree down, which is not a preferable thing, or how do we work around the tree? So in certain cases, you might see asphalt even on our projects. Whereas if we have a tree conflict with a root and we don't want to, we can get around it, we might put concrete up to a point and then asphalt along the backside of the tree. Usually we try to alert property owners if it's residential, something we're doing that because a lot of times it's not looked on favorably from an aesthetic standpoint, but from a trying to keep the tree and make it walkable. It's something that we found is more cost effective because that tree root's just gonna keep popping concrete panels up, and if it's asphalt, it gives us a longer time before there's a need to come back for a safety improvement, and it's something that if it's asphalt, it can be pulled out and put down fairly easy and inexpensively by our own crews. There's a couple other things you'll see, but I think the bulk of what you're saying is just to make safe repairs.
Just a quick follow-up.
Sure.
Thank you. So because this question will come up with neighbors, is essentially we don't have a plan to come back once they've already done that make safe project.
In most cases.
And residential.
In most cases, we're trying to make it safe, but then we're reacting to more requests that come in after that.
Okay.
So I do think we track those, and in some cases, we will get back to fix those, but in a lot of numbers, the temporary make safe is there longer than we would like to see.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay, let's move along now. What's next?
Manoj, my seat to me.
Yes,
We, switch out here?
Yes, we'll move into the traffic engineering
Thank you.
section of the CIP.
Good to see you, Nate.
Good to see you, Jim. I was just saying happy, sir.
Lovely. I hope you enjoyed yours.
So there are a few traffic engineering related lines in the CIP. There are two allocations that were approved by the PPBA board last year for staff overtime. This is work above and beyond the typical workday of DPW staff members. There has been $216,000 dedicated to overtime for citywide traffic calming initiatives, and an additional $40,000 due to available for traffic engineering related initiatives. Nate, could you just walk the committee through and the council what those staff are doing while they're working that overtime?
Right, so I think it's probably helpful to distinguish between what traffic calming is and what traffic engineering might be in terms of the funding. Traffic calming is basically infrastructure to reduce speed. Could be cut from traffic, most of the complaints we're addressing are speed. A lot of what was spent last year was a combination of some of the office staff time to review a lot of the requests. As you know, there's a traffic calming policy that reviews requests, and they're approved or not approved based on the criteria. And then it goes through temporary measures and then public meetings and then final traffic calming installation. So it was that, and also some time for overtime for the highway department to install temporary measures such as rubber speed bumps. I think we spent a lot less last year on the highway department. They seem to have the ability to do a lot of that on regular time, so that was good to hear. Traffic engineering, as you can see, we haven't spent a lot on that. That's basically traffic engineering is really a lot of what we're funding to these projects are it's a lot of traffic signal, equipment improvements, that we can't do with our one signal foreman that we have. We have to hire a contractor to improve a lot of, outstanding traffic signal, infrastructure improvements. It also includes studies that we do for signal optimization, safety studies, and certain traffic safety devices such as flashing crosswalk signs, school zone signs, driver feedback signs that tell you your speed. Those are the permanent ones. So that's kind of the difference between traffic calming and traffic engineering. So the overtime really haven't met the need for the traffic engineering projects yet. So we also hired a project manager that we share with the traffic engineering shares with the curbside department that will be able to help in managing some of those traffic engineering, traffic calming projects as they go through design and construction.
Yes, certainly. So then, Nate, I'm not sure if you want to talk through what the plans are with the allocations for traffic calming and then traffic engineering as far as the actual work and not necessarily the staff components.
Yeah, so the activity code 01820 traffic calming and subsequent 1-25 traffic calming are basically for infrastructure traffic calming. There is some money in there for temporary measures. We do have a pretty significant stockpile of temporary rubber speed bumps. Every year we have to buy hardware and to install them, but most of that money is really for the installation of the permanent asphalt speed bumps.
Can I just ask a question? When we repave the street, please tell me we're not putting temporary speed bumps on a repaved street. Are we still doing that? Because doesn't it damage the road?
Yeah, it depends on if it's something that's recently been approved. Because the process does have a step in there to put temporary measures in. So, if it does, if it's something that's been approved as, that process was approved a year or two ago, so, if it was approved for traffic calming, we do put some temporary measures on there, so. I don't know that a lot of times that I can't think of any that we put temporary ones or something that's been newly
I
paid.
hope this is some type of control to, do a double check.
Yeah.
Because it does damage the road immediately. So I trust that you're monitoring that appropriately. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, that's okay.
We got a lot to get through tonight, so I'm gonna ask that we kind of move a little quicker.
Sure, so I mean, the two traffic calming options are basically, mostly for the permanent measures, infrastructure measures. If you look at the options for infrastructure traffic calming, speed lumps are the most cost-effective measure. And if you look at some of the data in terms of, the effectiveness, it's even better than the national. Some of the studies we've done internally in the city, it's a 52% reduction in the frequency of speed. So they're very effective. I know not everybody's favorable, but that's why we have the process. So traffic engineering, if you look at some of the next 3 items for traffic engineering are a combination of traffic safety improvements, like we said, some studies that we're going to be doing. We are going to be performing as much as we can with the funding, some signal optimization and phasing and timing studies that we're going to do. We've identified the 2 service roads, or John J. Partington Way and Dave Gavitt Way as a good candidate for a corridor study there. We're also doing some other intersections in the city to try to optimize signal phasing and timing, and also to try to find the possibility to put some pedestrian-friendly phasing in there, such as the pedestrian interval, which we've implemented in most signals in the city, and also exclusive peds. We're also doing, as we said, a lot of safety signing, the flashing crosswalk signs and crosswalks.
that we've installed about school zone signs at around 8 schools in the city last year. We had a lot of traffic count data around the schools. We kind of found the highest speeding areas around those schools and we installed the flashing school zones there. And we'll continue to put some of those safety signings based on some data that we have to find who the best candidates for those safety devices are. What's we doing? So we've, we're also, there's a need to adhere to the latest Americans with Disabilities Act. And one of the measures there that relates to traffic signals is the requirement to put in what's called accessible pedestrian signals. And it's really for the hearing impaired. So we're still trying to get from the federal government the details of where you need to do that, but we've allocated some money in there to install those. We anticipate we're gonna have to do those. Where we're gonna put those is still to be determined. We've also done a traffic signal optimization study. So we've a lot of our studies we've used, the planning department has done a very good job this past year to do a safety and accident analysis that really ranks a lot of the high accident or high safety roads and intersections of the cities, and we kind of looked at that. And we looked at a road safety audit that we did at Douglas and Admiral Street intersection, and we've allocated some money because it ranked very high in terms of safety issues in the city, throughout the city. We've allocated some money to do a preliminary design there based on some of the recommendations in the road safety audit that was done a couple of years ago. So that's allocated there. About that. So, and yeah, I think that's generally, that's what a lot of those last 3 items are for. We do have a specific plan of a lot of specific locations. But generally, those are the uses of those final 3 funds.
Great. Questions? Councilman Bishop.
Well, right time.
Is there a room there for you to address 2 things? One, as far as traffic calming and addressing the safety on Broad Street, has there been any allocation or any plans for that? Then the other one is the downtown here near Hemingway's. Is that
South Main Street?
yeah? Is that also being addressed or has that been put on hold? What can you speak to those 2 things?
Yeah, well, we just installed asphalt speed lumps on South Main Street.
Right.
Yeah.
On South
You
Main
mean
Street.
specifically at Hemingway's?
Yeah, on the other side where it was a problem.
South Water Street or?
Is it
South
that-
Water, South Water.
Is that South Water? Bike lanes.
Bike lanes.
Yeah, and that is.
South Water Street? Yeah, I think the planning department has something coming out in the spring.
Okay, they can
Remove
speak.
the bike lanes and push people.
What's that?
Excuse me,
Yeah.
Excuse me, are you done, Councilman Bishop?
No, not yet. He's
Okay,
trying
please
to-
continue.
Yeah, in terms of South Water Street, yeah, there is a planning department project that's for the spring, right? Yes. Yeah, I think that's scheduled, that should be soon, right? So that's on South Water Street that will, I think they're gonna be putting back 2 lanes of traffic there. So,
Doesn't have to do with
and
you
they're
then.
they're actually they're doing some traffic calming in there too as part of their project.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something I reviewed, but I didn't, it's being managed by the planning department,
Being managed by what?
the planning department.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the one on Broad Street?
So Broad Street, I think the issue there that we've struggled with is some of the bus islands, so forth. I think that's something that we've mentioned, but it's not specifically funded, is to try to, we've looked at a number of ways to put signage and flex posts on the bus islands. Some have lasted, some haven't. As far as the other thing we could look at, it sounds like fun, but doesn't mean we can't do it, is maybe doing some type of striping ahead of those bus islands to better alert people or direct people away from hitting them. But anything, in terms of anything to kind of reversing the project out there in terms of the bus islands, there isn't anything that I have planned for that or that's funded in my funds that are in the market.
So just to be clear, no funding for that area.
Right.
And no plans for that.
Yeah, I
For that
think
addressing it.
something that we committed to, that's probably in the traffic engineering's to-do list is to possibly look at some striping ahead of those.
And then just the last one.
To try to direct them,
Right.
not to hit them, or to alert them a little bit more of that. We do have a striping budget and an operating budget that's pretty significant, so that's something we could look at in terms of that. It shouldn't be a large cost item, so, I think it's just a matter of us initiating that and maybe not so much the funding, because I think we do have a pretty good sized striping budget.
Let's stick with the, plan that's before us. Those are, asks for down the road that we can talk about, because we could be here all night.
Right.
Yeah, just wanna, thank you, yeah, and that's it. I mean, again, just for those islands are the responsibility of the city. Yes?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you, that's all.
Okay, thank you, Councilman Pashado. Councilman Boggs.
Thank you. Nate, Chafee Street, do we still have that one to be done this coming?
Yeah, I have to, that wasn't done because of planned gas piling. I have to kind of look to see where that is. There's about 5 streets in the city that we attempted to do last year, but we couldn't do because of planned utility projects or ongoing utility projects, but I have to see where they are. And talk to their project manager a little bit in terms of when that may be coming and see if it makes sense to go ahead of it or just wait for them to be finished, so. I need to get back.
One more question.
One more, continue. How much money do we have from the speeding, from the traffic light cameras? How much money do we have on hand to do these speed bumps?
The plan for using that traffic calming safety fund, the 35% or 70% of revenues. The actual traffic calming, the speed limits are paid by the CIP. There are other items, other safety items that are used.
So who's taking the money from the cameras?
We're using it, it's just not used for speed limits, it's used for other safety items.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you guys done? Do we wrap up on this topic?
I believe so. The only other remaining lines in this capital budget are their OPM and CM. They do have staff that are paid by the city of Providence and reimbursed by this bond. They are project managers and included in our classification ordinance. Yes, thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you,
I believe the Parks Department is up next.
Okay.
Director Nelson is ready to come chat.
So we're going a little slow here, so I'm hoping that we can pick up the pace, so we can get through everything. And again, this is intended to be an update of existing projects.
Oh, yes, that's good. Would we like to swear in Director Nielsen? She arrived a little bit later than some of us.
We have to swear you in.
Please.
Please raise your right hand. You swear under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. And please state your name and your title for the record.
Wendy Nielsen, Superintendent of Parks.
Thank you. So I think at this point in the game, Wendy knows these projects probably better than really anybody else in the city of Providence. So I'll let her go through this list and provide updates based on where she's at. And then if you guys have any questions on numbers, I'll be happy to assist.
Perfect, take it away.
All right, I'm just gonna get going and you stop me when you need me. How's that sound? So Adrian Hallway is well underway. Utilities are under construction. I believe those might actually be done by now. And then the project itself with the skate park, that's gonna start hopefully going out to bid later in the fall. That has nothing, we can't start any of that work until the construction is done there. So that's where that's going. Arduine Ardween Park, projects are, in our design queue. Ashland Street Park is under contract for fencing and trees. Billy Taylor Park is, advertised yesterday, for the, it says overpass there, but that's a $739,000 project that includes the water park and playground. Cabral Park was just awarded yesterday. I mean, the bids came back yesterday, and we're gonna award it, at the next cycle. That is the water park, playground, field, basketball court, all that good stuff over there. The bids came back on budget, miraculous, wonderful. City center improvements, that is, all of those are underway. We're gonna be doing some work around the pavers there. City center rink, we're coming down on some punch list items there, which is flooring and lighting and smaller things like that. City center water parks, we're down to about $36,000 in that. That has been used for almost every single water park in the city, including 2 new water parks at Obadiah and Father Lennon. Father Lennon will be open in plenty of time for this summer as well. Columbia Park improvements are under design development. Gano Park, the bids came in yesterday also. That's going to be awarded for $833,000 with some blended funding creative funding on that. General Street Park improvements, that project is done. Georgia Rougeau Park is going out to bid on May 4th. George West Park improvements, that is currently under construction at a total project of $783,000. Gladys Potter, it's a very small amount that is going to be used to purchase some replacement equipment. India Point Park, that project for that phase is done. We're actually on to phase 2 using ARPA and other grant money. I think we got $1.2 million in grant money. So that phase 2 is actually going out for bid at sometime this month, early April. And that is also doing permitting simultaneously. So that is great. That's for the eastern end, also known as the soccer field area and the adaptive coastline there. It's going to be pretty incredible. Iola French, that is under contract, and if they haven't started, they should be starting any day now. Joe Williams Park, that is also under contract for the field. They are starting, I believe they were going to start today or next week. Everybody was waiting for the snow to melt everywhere. John O'Brien Park, also known as Regent Park, and James O'Brien Park is under construction also. That is moving along swimmingly. Joslyn Playground is done, but it's Joslyn Water Park right now that is under construction. That also will be ready for a brand new park this summer. Kerry Coring, that is in design development. Mashpog, this is combined with the Murphy Trainer one. We were able to get a $950,000 earmark to renovate all the trails around Mashpog, the Mashpog Park ponds and the Reservoir Triangle. So that's going to do trail improvements in Murphy Trainer Park, and also what's known as the Garden House, and also make that a stormwater center. So really exciting things happening there. Miguel Luna Park is well under construction, and that's also going to be ready to debut for the summer. And hopefully those kids at Sackett Street School who have been so incredibly patient. I talked about Murphy Trainer. North Burial Ground improvements is under contract for master planning. And hopefully we'll get some good design development sometime in the next 2 months and go out to contract over there. Pastore Park, those improvements are complete. Peace and Planning Park is in the community engagement end of the design development phase. Pleasant Valley Park, that is under design development, that is going out to bid for an engineer for 661. We're super excited about that. Richardson Park, that project is down to the punch list of some things that, plantings and things like that didn't get done, as well as the field is being seeded and such. And the field will be ready in 2027, even though the work will be done hopefully in the next month or so. Riverside Park is under design development, and there's a community meeting tomorrow night on that.
Roger Williams Park, that is a lot of roadwork, stormwater, buildings, and also the boardwalk, which is going to be complete by the end of June, hopefully a month earlier than that. The Roger Williams Park Zoo, that is their education center, that is well under construction. I think everybody's had an invitation out there to see that in action. Oh my gosh, did I already go through that? And then Session Street Park is under the design development, community engagement. They are, they're there now engaging with the community on that one, and also have a follow-up meeting with Councilwoman Davidson on Thursday. Wansbeck House, that is under design and community engagement, and the only delay on that has been that we wanted to walk the area with neighbors, and we weren't able to do that until now. So that is happening in early April. The Warren Ave project is under design development, and that is April 1st, should be going out to bid. And the walkways, and the stage and such, that is almost done. I don't know if anybody's seen the stage down there, but it is spectacular. It just needs 2 more coats of the performance coating on the stage, which we need nights up over 50 degrees to be able to do. So that's been the holdup down there. And that is all she wrote.
Wow, phenomenal, Wendy.
Who's there today?
Vice Chair Taylor has a
If
question.
you could just refresh my memory, I'm sorry, Arlene and Joe Williams, what are they doing over there?
So Arduine is, they're doing some ball field improvements over there and, some playground and some fencing over there. And, Joe Williams is doing, fencing and, doing some field work over there.
Okay.
So it'll be really good.
And last quick question, you know, when they're doing the Murphy trainer, trails, are they gonna try to connect that to that walkway?
That is the goal, is to
So
connect,
when you
yeah.
do walk behind
Yeah.
Stop and Shop, the pond there, you
Yeah.
can go, cause you get down there, it's just
Yeah.
not clear.
Yeah, and some of that is ADA access, where we're not gonna be able to do that, because you'd have to cut switchbacks through.
Right.
But as much as we can, and then going off-road to connect to JT Owens with signage and things like that, so that you can say, if you walk this way, you can reconnect to parks and hopefully get this appreciation for all the water around Mashpog. Yeah, all the water and all the trails, which are impassable, you know, and, so that's a super exciting project, and while we do that too, we're also gonna be addressing a couple of the stormwater, biggest offenses in the community, so being
Are
able
they gonna put
to,
some benches over there, like people can sit, I know there's one,
yeah,
Are they gonna
we're gonna make Murphy
so
train
people can
that,
sit.
yeah, absolutely.
Alright, thank you. I'm done.
Anyone else? Councilman Ball?
Thank you. Going back to, directly to Jocelyn, playground, you say that it's done?
No, it's not done.
No, you say it's done. It's not done, you say, then you jump on saying the splash water is coming up. I know that the splash water is coming up, but the futsal is not done.
No, the futsal is not done, I said the play area, the 2 to 5 play area is done. The futsal was not part of the, SIP funding, we did other funding for the, futsal over there, so that's why I wasn't reporting on that, but the futsal is, we wrote to them earlier this week, they got back today, they're waiting for the days that are over 50 degrees, they think it's within the next 2 weeks that we're gonna have that they're gonna be able to come down from Canada to do that field.
That's not part of the CFP?
No.
Okay.
And when they going to be starting doing the splash water?
The
water
splash,
splash.
the splash pad should be done by plenty of time for summer.
Yeah.
Please.
Riverside,
Mhm.
$425,000, what we plan to do there?
Well, that is one of the things that Sam is going to be at the community meeting with you to hear about that, but there are 4 play areas there, so we're hoping to concentrate on 1 or 2 of them. We just did, 1 or 2 of those areas, and the budget is actually $475,000 over there. As you know, it's a brownfield site, so any work that we do there is incredibly expensive and requires permitting. So we're gonna be focusing on one of the major play areas, reviving that, and we may have enough funding, and we're looking at some other options to possibly do, another smaller play area as well. So Sam has done what's called the base plan developments, the surveys, he brings all of that to the community meeting. share some options, some things that things might look like, gets feedback from the community, incorporates all that into the design, and we do that a few times. And so he's looking forward to going to your meeting on that. I believe that one is
Tomorrow,
yeah.
tomorrow 6 o'clock.
Yeah, so you'll be able to shape it.
Another question?
Last one. I don't see in this list Legion Park, Clarence Street Playground, and James Amherst. Legion is not finished yet.
With the futsal field?
Yeah, we discussed that we need to put like high fence to protect the boys not going to the playgrounds.
Okay. Yeah, we don't have any funding on that. That's not something that we're addressing here in the SIP. So that would be a
That's
future.
outside of the CIP that's before us.
Yeah.
If that's a project you wanna work on, happy to work with you on it, and we'll figure it out. Okay?
Okay.
All right. Anything else relative to the CIP that's before us? Councilman Bishop.
Just on the Miguel Luna, Memorial Improvement Park, we talked about the field. Is that, gonna be reseeded and reconnected in
Yeah.
terms of water?
Yeah,
And that's gonna be ready for,
we're hoping ready to, so we're doing all that work
Okay.
in-house because we don't have any additional funding for it. Yeah.
thank you.
What our guys are gonna do is as good a job as they possibly can. They're really good.
Sounds good. Thank you.
Councilwoman Peterson, you have a question? You
No,
all set?
no. My child is telling me he's hungry, that's all.
Wendy, thank you. Fabulous work. You make us very proud. You have the best park system, I think, of any municipality.
Thank you. It's
And
an
I
honor.
love when I hear people say that they love to come to Providence because every park they visit is always such a treat. You make each one special and unique. So thank you for the hard work that you do for all of us.
Thank you so much. Like I said, it's an honor to be able to do this work for Providence and we appreciate your partnership so much. So thank you.
Thank you, Lana.
Our pleasure. Okay, what's next, Crystal?
We've got the planning department next, so I'm not sure who's
Where we
going up.
at?
Perfect, all right.
Please go ahead.
Okay, all right. Chris, I'm not sure who's taking the lead here, but all right, wonderful, go ahead.
Alright, so, I am not gonna be as fast as Wendy and as efficient as Wendy, but I'll try.
Okay.
So I'll just go down the list and, you can stop me if you have any questions. So the first line, Cathedral Square, these funds have been are being used for our Make Safe project in that area. Using to do investigations for surface and subsurface conditions so that we can get out there, this spring or summer to fix some of the, surface issues that are out there. Next line is City Walk. These funds are being spent down by the end of this fiscal year for improvements on existing bus islands on Broad Street. So to the question that came up earlier with Nate, this funding will be used to go towards that, to bring them up to city and RIPTA standards. The next item, these are match funds for a state Department of Environmental Management outdoor recreation grant. These are match funds for that grant. If we get that, which we should be hearing about that very soon, those will be matched for acquisition and design and development for Manton Ave shared use path.
Say that again, Manton Avenue?
Manton Avenue shared use path, yeah. The next line is, it's another match for our Safe Streets and Roads for All. One of our Safe Streets and Roads for All grant programs for temporary safety improvements for 14 intersections throughout the city. That's a US DOT grant that we're using this for match funds for. Next one, off-road shared use paths and trails. So this is this is gonna be combined with the one above with the state DEM grant to develop the designs for that, for Manton Ave. The next line, off-road shared use paths and trails. So this is for complementary to what I'll talk about in a little bit, but the Tar Bridge redesign for this year, complementary to what we're doing in Olneyville for the Safe Streets and Roads for All project. The next one is another Cathedral Square line. So this is being used for the redesign, reimagining, safety upgrades, permanent future upgrades for Cathedral Square. We're currently in design with a consultant team called Halverson for this project. They will be bringing designs, they'll be putting together a master plan for the whole Cathedral Square, but then we'll be doing some near-term, interim projects with this funding as well. And then public infrastructure improvements below that. That is also tied to the one previous for the Cathedral Square work. And then the Upper South Providence Trinity Square project. So this was something that there were designs put together a few years ago, but then there was a lot of utility work that was happening in Trinity Square that delayed any of that implementation. So we're holding off on that for now. But we are working with a council member, we're working with the neighborhood to make sure that these funds will go towards sidewalk and road work once that utility work is done.
Okay.
The next one is a USDOT raise match. So that's $2 million for the design and engineering and final permitting for the Riverwalk and Water Place Park designs there. It's a match for a USDOT federal grant, leveraging $7.8 million from USDOT and $1 million from the National Fish and Wildlife Fund. Next one is the other Safe Streets match that we have. So this is for the 2022 Safe Streets and Roads for All from USDOT that we received. That includes projects on South Water Street, Broadway, Washington Secondary, and the Omnibus Square work that we're doing. And so those projects are in various stages of completion, all getting close to or almost finished with permitting and design. Mentioned earlier, South Water Street, we're looking at construction on that happening this summer probably, just due to World Cup. We don't want to interfere with the traffic that will be happening around that, so we're going to wait for after World Cup and then lift it to some implementation now. Next one, Winnebago River Greenway. So this project is finalizing construction. We're at substantial completion. I'm just working on the project punch list to finalize and close out those activities. So we're very happy about that. It's been a project long coming, so we're happy about that.
Good. Is that it?
That's it.
You quick.
I'm trying.
Any questions?
Madam Chair, actually, there is a project that has been previously attributed to the Department of Public Property that we're actually going to be moving under the Planning Department in next year's CIP. It relates to supplementary lighting improvements, and so I think it might make sense to have the Planning Department discuss that project too, since they're, they may then dismiss themselves and public property take the final straw.
Yes, so the plan itself is, so this funding was for supplementary lighting and safety lighting improvements. And so with that, we put together a plan for lighting demonstration projects and lighting that could be used, starting downtown, but then taking that and expanding it throughout the city. So we're working with public properties, working with our lighting consultant, our lighting C&K Lighting, who does the lights in the city, and then we have a design team that has been working on that as well. So that is nearly complete, and Joe, the next steps on that?
We're doing a couple of demonstration projects on how we can utilize the light poles in different ways. To an extent, it's the equivalent of having a light socket every couple hundred feet. Thousands of them throughout the city, and that includes the potential to integrate with technology, including expanding public Wi-Fi cloud, using coordination with public safety for camera installations, as well as decorative lighting, full color spectrum, color changing lighting for events, and other types of activity to encourage greater visitation to the downtown in line with our Life at Night economic development strategy plan.
This is just downtown. This isn't in business corridors and our communities.
We're prototyping it right now to see how it integrates. It's a novel technology, including the control system. That will be a subscription system in the cloud that then can allow the lights to be controlled independently or collectively through something as simple as a phone app. So that's something that once we prove the technology and are comfortable with the installation, the first install we're doing right now, we have a prototype at the corner of Westminster and Union Street. And now we're expanding into a larger area over here at Burnside and Biltmore Park that will then integrate with the decorative lighting that was installed by the Parks Department up into the light sale, the shade sales. And that will allow us to do dynamic lighting for events, including the full color spectrum, as well as standard default position of a warm white light. We're also talking about lighting quality in lighting coordination so that we have the same temperature quality to the lighting instead of variations of cool white and warm white. So it's a Kelvin spectrum, 3,000 kelvins. Which is the standard that we're making, and also coordination with other third-party grantee recipients, including the Federal Hill area, where they're redoing their poles and their lighting controls in that area as well. So an example where it can go beyond the downtown area into other commercial districts. And once we have the standards.
Are there dollars in place to move it to every business corridor in the city?
Not quite yet, no. But we could do very small installations with different types of technology, different lighting installations in the near future.
I'd like to see it in every business corridor in every neighborhood.
Yeah, I think where appropriate, it can be a good dynamic generator for community pride as well as economic development and a greater sense of safety at night.
And what's the total dollar amount on that? Do you have?
So right now there is a total project budget remaining of about 2.5 million.
That's a nice amount. It's a tiny amount.
Where's
I
that?
love it. I think it's great.
It's on the public property report. So it was previously under the Department of Public Property, but because the project's being managed by planning, we're gonna be moving it into planning's budget for next year.
Okay.
So if I wasn't clear, I think it's a great idea. I'd like to push it into our neighborhoods in some way, shape, or form. I don't want it just to be downtown in Federal Hill.
No, that's the goal, absolutely.
Okay, that's my goal. Okay, that's great. Anything else?
Not from me.
Okay, we're good.
Great
I do
job.
have
I'm sorry.
I know, to Mr. Martin, real quick, City Walk uses referenced earlier about Broad Street. What is that? You just.
Yeah, so those funds are to be spent on upgrading the bus islands on Broad Street.
And that's that line 390?
390, 402, 20.
And there's a plan for that?
Yeah.
Can we follow up on that?
Our team is working on that.
So we follow up on that?
Consultant has been selected and we're going to review those existing installations and reassess and reconceive them in a more thoughtful way.
We'd love to follow up on it.
Please do.
Okay, you all set? Okay, next up.
Good job. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much.
Public property, last but not least.
Thank you for your patience. You were smiling back there the whole time.
All right, good evening. I'll try and run through these at a high level quickly, but.
Very good.
Reach out for questions. So first one, Academy Ave roof replacement. We have a contract with our general contractor for the roof, about 1.8 million committed. The material has been ordered, delivered, but we have some significant issues with the underlying deck that we're gonna have to
What
get into.
property is that?
That's the Academy Ave, 552 Academy Ave is where our public property, like operations folks mobilize out of, as well as, police.
Okay, next to the South Academy, I got you.
Yeah, it's the old,
Progress water.
Yeah. So significant deck issues we're gonna have to eat into. There's about 600,000 remaining on that line to address that. Next one is Atwell's Avenue Arch. This one, we're actually transferring that funding to the Federal Hill Commerce Association to implement. I do not have an update from them to date, but I believe they're in the planning stages for how to perform that.
Say that again, we're transferring it to.
The Federal Hill Commerce Association, they'll be the ones running that project.
And what is the purpose of it? What's the intention of it?
It's to restore the pine nut.
Yes, in the arch.
In the arch of the.
It's a pine nut?
That's what it is.
I thought it was a pineapple.
I thought it was a pineapple.
Yep.
I thought it was a pineapple.
Okay.
Next one is Exciting City Hall Elevator, which I'm sure you've all heard. The majority of the shaft work and a lot of it is complete. Otis is now in their kind of final phase. They're assembling the new cab inside the elevator shaft, starting in April. So just in a few weeks here.
It's actually going to be delivered tomorrow.
Perfect. And they're anticipating completion in July and will be fully spent out with this line. The next one, staying in City Hall, this is the roof phase one. So the background, phase one is the replacement of the flat roof as well as the historic arched slate shingles, the dark gray shingles, and the copper detailing pieces. We're in the final stages of design. We're submitting those designs for historic review, and we anticipate going up to bid shortly after that. So we should have a contract awarded in early summer of this year, 2026. Scaffolding we'll start to see going up probably in July, August timeframe. There'll be significant scaffolding around the building. We're
When you
anticipating.
say historic approval, who, is that Providence Historic?
It's
What
the,
historic
it's the
entity?
historic preservation, I'm gonna get it wrong. I think it's the state. I suppose, but the state is doing
Yeah.
Okay,
the SHPO, is that it?
okay, so,
State Historic Preservation and, I lost it there.
okay,
So they have final approval at the Downtown Design Commission, which our friends of planning were part of, are also in the loop, but it's the state historic that really has the final say. So we're anticipating 12 months for the total duration, completion in summer 2027 at this point in time. Next, we have citywide decorative lighting replacement and repairs. To date, this has been more of a responsive effort. We want to make that more proactive, so we're working on master planning, feasibility study for how we can be more smart and proactive with these repairs, replacements before they go out or before they're in need of immediate replacement. Citywide pool remediation, similarly, we're working on a master plan. We have a consultant on board. We did investigations just at the end of last week to look at all our pools. Our work for the repairs that come out are likely to take place so after this summer, between the 2026 and
how many
2027.
pools do we have?
5 that are managed by public property.
Can you name them?
So West End, Igliozzi, Zucolo, Rogers, those are all rec centers. And then the last is Battistini inside, sorry, and Davy Lopes, that's 6. Battistini's are only indoor pool attached to the school.
It's PPSD actually manages.
Right.
Say that again, please.
PPSD actually manages that one.
That's the Battistini, which is attached to Pleasant View School.
PPSD manages Battistini Pool?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, I'm sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
That's the
Please continue.
pools. Next is the communications building. This line is fully complete and fully expended between interior improvements and some roof envelope improvements. There's an overage there, but that's covered by other funding lines.
Okay.
Next is the Dexter Street Garage, which is our mechanic garage. This one's also complete, fully spent on paving for the asphalt lot, as well as a bathroom renovation inside the shop. Moving along, we have the fire station general repairs and renovations. A couple of lines here, and these are based on, you're gonna see this come up again when we talk about future CIP, because there's future phases that we want to fund. We have a full feasibility report that a consultant prepared in the previous year. These two funding lines are split into two projects at two of the highest criticality fire stations, which are Branch and North Main Street, Branch Ave and North Main Street. And the two projects are roofing replacements at both stations and HVAC replacements at both stations. HVAC, including electric overhaul, because we need to go for full electrified systems. They also include a heavy emphasis on air exchange, because a huge issue is the firefighters coming back to the stations with their dirty uniforms. They offload them, they're breathing in all the harmful gases. So that's a huge piece of it, part of why those are highest criticality. The roofing project covering both stations is out to bid. We anticipate awarding that contract in April, mobilizing construction in May or June. And then the HVAC project covering both stations is still in design and anticipating a summer bid, fall award. Construction possibly in spring 2027, depending on the HVAC equipment that we have to order as part of that. Moving down the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, so you see 4 general improvements and then hazard mitigation. These build budgets for public property to draw from for sort of emergent issues, hazards related to, as you see, electrical envelope and interiors, mechanical plumbing, and then hazard mitigation being when we uncover asbestos that's in a state that has to be addressed, as well as typically accessibility improvements. So each of those, based on previous year spends, we expect to spend down by the close of FY27. Recognizing that we're not going to bond again likely for most of these in 26, but in a couple of cases, you will hear from us with the next ask that will build up some of those budgets as they're getting low based on our spends. The next one down is the big one, the new DPW complex, which construction is fully underway. This involves the whole sort of DPW campus down on Ellens Ave. We're building a new building that's going to house a new maintenance garage with 9 bays on the lower level, new crew quarters for the sewer, highway, and maintenance departments on the top level. A whole overhaul of the lower operational site, so all new asphalt, generators, a new transfer station. The existing garage that stands today will continue to stand, but we're going to replace the roof, which is in critical failure. That's ongoing currently.
And then roofs, huh?
Yep. This also includes, so we moved the DPW admin department out of their previous building at 700 Allens. They're now in the newly acquired 75 Chapman Street. Includes some renovations that are needed to that building as well in terms of equipment lift, some security improvements for the interior. So as I said, all of that is underway. We anticipate completion in like May, June timeframe of 2027, and will be fully spent with both of these lines at that time. Next, we have the PES 88 playground. This one is sort of offloaded to fit in line more with our PPSD projects. John, I don't know if you have an update specifically for you.
It's 3 different playgrounds with 3 different age groups. One has been completed. They're waiting for the weather to get a little bit better, and they're supposed to start within the next couple of weeks to finish the other 2 playgrounds.
Okay.
Which are they?
I'm sorry?
Which are they?
At Pleasant View?
Pleasant
all
View?
of Pleasant School, all of Pleasant
All of
View.
them?
Oh, yeah.
Then on to the next page, we have the public safety complex. This is primarily a project consisting of a roof replacement and then new rooftop HVAC equipment. The roof portion is done and under warranty with the new system. The HVAC equipment is arriving in the summer, potentially to be installed in the fall, depending on what we can coordinate with all the various departments on site as far as a shutdown. That also includes a solar installation that's going to follow that HVAC equipment. And then the next line is the public safety garage just across the street. We're in the planning phase now. Some of our biggest needs here have to do with the elevator within the public safety garage. And there are some smaller portions of structural repairs and isolated spots that we'll be addressing. So we're in the planning phase working on those designs now. The next line, recreation center general repairs, spread across 3 lines. This is for HVAC replacement and electrification at 5 of our rec centers. Those are Vincent Brown, Igliozzi, West End, Rollins, and Zucolo. This also braids funding with ARPA for our rec centers, as well as a congressional earmark. All are set for completion by July 1st. And those are gonna have full cooling and heating, so those also add cooling in the gyms where there previously was none. We talked about supplementary lighting improvements being offloaded to planning department. And that's it, aside from our OPM and CM lines.
So all your work is front loaded, what are you gonna do in 2028?
So we
No
have,
more roofs like that.
right, yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, we've been touching.
No, there'll be more roofs to come, and you'll hear from us soon in the new CIP ask, where you'll hear about some of those plans. And what we want to work on too, you'll see some of these include, in a couple of spots, 2019 and a couple 2020 funding. We want to be better about getting our design phases funded in small amounts early, so that then we fund construction later. It's a little tricky how we juggle that, but that'll help us kind of keep the wheels rolling so that we don't get this huge, $50 million for DPW and then sit on it for 4 years while we design and go through all those steps.
Great, Madam Auditor has a question, I think, or two.
Your project totals are a total of the 5-year CIP, correct?
Yes.
Have it, Crystal?
Yeah.
And then your remaining balance is obviously the encumbrance, the actual, less the total.
It's actually not factoring in the encumbrance right now. So that remaining balance is taking in what was spent in fiscal year 26 actual expenditures. I'm not backing out the encumbrance from the remaining balance, but I am showing it as a demonstration point, so that we're aware that these funds are under our committee.
Do you have bond balances? Like what do we have remaining in actual funded projects?
Do you mean like cash balances?
So like what are your bond balances? Like in your 2025, what do you have remaining in that bond to cover the projects? Like suppose we can't bond for the future projects.
Yeah.
What happens if that, like where are we with that? Like.
So the 25 bond dollars have already been apportioned to all of these individual projects.
So these projects are already funded?
Yes.
For the 5 years?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, everything that is on this list is funded. Anything that's not funded has not been brought forward to discuss tonight because I didn't want to conflate things. So everything that we've reviewed tonight is a funded project. Funds have been identified and we have confirmed many times that there's sufficient cash in the bank to pay for all of these things.
Wow, so we have a lot of.
We have a lot of money to spend. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, because you didn't put totals at the bottom of each one, so I was just.
Yeah, I can do that for next.
I can do it too. I
yeah.
have it, I just didn't have it on.
Yep, yeah, and I can give you bank statements too if you wanna see all of that. That's one of the things we do every time we look at this is just add up all these projects, look at them by funding source and ensure that we have sufficient cash to meet all of the needs for everything we've obligated, so.
Wow.
You great?
Yeah.
Any other, Councilman Bouchard?
Yes, in reference to the recreation center repairs, you named 5.
Yes.
Name them again for me.
Vincent Brown,
Yeah.
Igliozzi, West End,
Yeah.
Rollins, and Zucolo.
Azuka. And these don't have ACs, HVAC?
So all of them had heat currently, some of them had minor spots of AC, none of them had air conditioning in the gyms. Almost none of our rec centers do today, so that's being added, but the whole systems are being replaced.
How many remain that don't have?
Recreation centers, you mean?
Yeah,
Yes, so we have another 3 that are covered with CPF grants that are including HVAC overhauls. And then in our new CIP, you'll hear about the remaining. There may be 4 of them. Most are tied to schools, which make them even trickier. Off the top of my head, Sackett, Battistini. I'm gonna lose the rest. Rogers. Kennedy, which is under construction, so probably wouldn't be included. So at least those 3 would be in the new ask.
Is the new ask.
Right, so you hear from that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Who all? Anything else you'd like to say? Crystal, do you have any parting words for us?
You know, I would just have to say that I think, you know, Madam Chair, you've been on this committee for a while. I think the internal auditor and Councilman Taylor have been, the finance department and public property have not previously been able to provide reports at this level of detail and projects fund at this level of detail. And while, you know, Stephanie and I have done a tremendous amount of work to make this possible, all of these project managers and their administrative staff are really the people who are doing a lot of the work that are feeding into these reports. And I just have to say, I'm so proud to be on this team because when we started this a year ago, a lot of it was a mess, a lot of it was guesses. We were all working together and I was preparing a lot of rules and sometimes the rules were changing. But whether it was planning or public property or DPW, everybody has always participated and really showed up and been a team player, and it just really means a lot to me to participate. So I do think that they deserve a little recognition for doing all of these tricky, kind of nuanced and sometimes annoying accounting procedures, so that Stephanie and I can run these reports and show up in these meetings and provide you guys with this level of detail and really provide the taxpayers with information on where their bond dollars are going, so.
I would agree wholeheartedly. I thank you very much. This is great work. We're very proud of you guys. So appreciate your presentations tonight. They were very detailed. So thank you. That is it for the evening. And again, thank you all for coming.